So go ahead and hit the record, and we're making this happen.
Whoa. Where am I playing?
I don't know, but it sounds
Find
great in my ears. So I'm going to start with the intro, because that's a good place to start.
All right.
Good.
You guys can't hear it, so I'll just dance for you, and then you'll know that it's time.
Playing.
Just
Pull one headphone off.
Well, that's rad.
That might work. I didn't know that did that.
Ow. Here, I'll be like,
It doesn't.
are you ready? Yeah.
It doesn't.
It goes this far. All right, I'll just roll this.
I can't tell if he's dancing or not.
Wait, no, it's got to be clean.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of the LittleBigKast.
Wow. Again, I'm still surprised we make it this far.
I
know.
know. Every week.
Episode 12.
And we're growing, and we have more friends.
I know.
Welcome
Very
to our
cool.
new Twitter followers. There's quite a few of them this week. So
Right?
that's- welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Today's an interesting day. We got some cool news stuff coming up and a ton of new releases this week.
Yes.
Yep.
So we're just going to get started, jump right into it, and kick it off. I think we'll start with Drew today for the kind of weekly, what do we want to call it? What do we call it?
It's like Drew's
The
life.
rundown.
It's like our weekly wrap up, our weekly.
What have I accomplished? What have I done this week that makes me who I am?
What
Kind of.
achievements what
Achievements?
trophies has Drew
Cute.
won?
I got
throughout
the
week?
I got the reseed the front and backyard trophy.
Very cool.
Nice.
That's a good one.
An entire setup for aerating, which of course just cost me money
So
because I
you've
didn't
done
do
it,
anything.
or you haven't? You've
It's been
just got it.
aerated.
You're
No,
waiting.
It's been aerated. It's been seeded.
So you have
in
the
fact,
poop turds now.
I've seen little tiny
turds.
things. I paid my kids to scoop up the poop turds.
Really?
I raked them into piles, which
How
took
much
me
did you
like
pay
20
him to do
minutes.
that?
I hit a
Candy.
quarter in each of the piles. So I'd stand in one place and I'd rake everything towards me, so I'd have a nice little pile. And then I got my little 7-year-old and her friends, and the 5-year-old and her friends, and I put a
Fathering it
quarter.
best.
Yeah, I put a quarter at each pile. I was like,
Oh
you guys,
my gosh.
you can have the quarter if you scoop up. They raced. I had like probably 15 piles. They just raced through the whole yard. So that was
Nice.
effective. That was
When
the
they grow
ingenuity.
up, they're going to be like, our dad is so freaking cheap.
That's the ingenuity trophy. And then the biggest trophy of the week for me is the I Sweat trophy. First time this year.
What? Yes. How have
You
you
got
not
your sweat on?
imploded?
Yeah, I got swole. I don't go to the gym
got
or
your
anything.
swole on?
Yeah,
Wow.
I just
There you go.
I
There you
rented
go.
a tiller and I tilled out my garden.
So
So
Am I
my
the only one that
forearms-
feels uncomfortable when people say, like, I got my swole on?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like,
Yeah.
I think
I work out with people that say that, and I'm
Oh,
like,
it's just strange.
you just got your swole on, dude?
Why would
That-
how did that happen?
like,
We're all men
Are
here.
you
How did that
okay?
How did that happen?
So that was my week. That is what I have accomplished.
No games? No.
Oh well, guacamole. I think that's the only thing I got in this week. I played the crap out of that thing.
Dude, you have like this. You have a serious backlog of games that
I
are just
know,
like
I know.
that you've started that
I'm
you
in the middle
haven't
of
got far
Alice
enough to
Madness.
even
I'm
enjoy.
in the middle of Uncharted. I'm in the middle of, not middle. I'm at the beginning.
That's
of,
the problem.
Yeah.
You're
No, I agree.
at
I
the
agree.
beginning of Uncharted and Mass Effect, which
Yep.
are two of my favorite
Yep,
series.
It's true.
But you haven't gone far enough to even start to appreciate why they're my favorite
Which-
se're like,
it's true.
I'm like an hour in, so it's just whatever.
Yeah. It's these
true.
indie games. These darn indie games.
That's
all
how
the
I
time
feel
I
too.
get.
Well, then that's my life exactly. So I only played Guacamelee pretty much, and then didn't touch anything else really because it was a
You
really fun game.
posers.
We're trying.
It's just weird because I'm like married with 3 kids. You've just got a full-time job. You've got a kid, but somehow you find the game time. I don't know what it is.
That's
The
nighttime.
most game time,
It's night
and you
time.
go to school.
And you
Yeah.
go to school.
This is
How's this
madness.
happening?
So that, and I've just been really tired. So I've been trying to sleep, but it's not working out so well.
So do you
ever.
feel like having time off of school makes you more tired because you don't
You know,
have things to do?
I'm starting to think so because I just work more, and then I just go to sleep. I go to
'Cause, like-
sleep or play video games,
That's your two.
or
So-
like hike,
Social-
which just
that's true, you hike.
takes hours.
So what I find myself like
Forbid. I'm outside for
It's
hours.
true.
when I'm a
Allergies.
full-time student, I feel like if I have a day where I don't have to do that, like I'm more tired in the day where I have nothing to do
Really?
than I am in the days where I'm like really busy and I'm just like, hey, I just got to manage time. Like, that's all it is. Just got to manage time. And like I don't know.
Yeah,
Is that
I think
just
it's
me?
true for me because like on my days off, I just like sleep the whole day, and then I don't know why I'm still just completely tired about everything, and I don't leave my bed.
I don't even remember what it's like
I have
to
such
not
an
have to
exciting
leave
life.
your bed.
Yeah,
Oh.
right?
You have like this dream life that
Yeah.
that
Well-
anyone with kids is like super envious of. Like
Because I still
They-
am a kid.
hella jealous. Like we just sit and I like wake up at 7 and I'm like, Rachel's still sleeping.
I'm telling you,
And I'm a
super
little bit-
easy.
It's tough.
I
It's
saved
tough.
hundreds on-
But I'm also going. I went longboarding yesterday,
Which is
was
amazing.
Pretty awesome.
Wow.
Pretty.
I did see an Instagram.
I know. I
Did you
did.
really?
I had a. It wasn't. I wasn't my board. And
Were
it
you
was,
moving while you took the photo?
I was.
Really?
You can
That's
tell
unsafe.
because the road is all fast. and
Streamy?
That noise.
Yeah, cool.
But it was cool. And then I'm gonna go to the Da Vinci or the Leonardo or whatever that thing is in Salt Lake and see the animal body worlds.
Ooh.
And if you
Oh,
don't-
do they have that?
Yeah, and it
Cool.
opened at the
That
beginning
could
of the
be
month.
fun.
So if you don't know what it is, it's like a bunch of like animal muscles, but it's just
Have
their
you seen
muscles.
humans?
Yeah, I saw the humans one a few years ago. It was
That's
pretty
I didn't
cool.
get
rad.
down there. I did
It's
get to see it.
sweet. I saw that in New York. They had
Nice.
it down. I can't remember the name of the harbor. It was like the southern harbor of Manhattan. And there's a museum down there where they had the bodies exhibit, and we went down and saw that out in Manhattan. It was sweet.
Pretty cool. These.
It's crazy though. Like the dude that's just the neurovascular system, like just the nerves.
Yes. I've seen pictures of
It's
it.
absolutely insane. Like I mean, honestly, the only thing I can compare it to is like if you've watched like the sci-fi or sci-fi movies or played a video game where like they're creating a human out of nothing and like all of a sudden like you see the like
That noise.
veins, like the capillary veins of a body form out as it forms the body. Like you see that in a movie and you're like, wow, that's some good CG. Doesn't look like that. Dude, it looks just like that.
It's legit.
It's crazy.
That's funny.
So longboarding, guacamole,
And that-
lots of sleep.
And yep, that's what
Work.
I'm gonna do. Yep. Pretty much.
Is it still espresso
Still
week?
espresso week?
Did you just say espresso?
I did because I was copying you because I thought you said it. So
I did not say it.
Well, it sounded
intentionally
like
went
it.
with espresso.
Shame.
He knows how it affects
you
you.
have to more emphasis. That's the word I was looking for.
Espresso.
Espresso.
It's espresso.
Nice,
So that's
nice.
me.
Very
and
cool.
Very simple, Jeff.
Me.
Your life.
So I'll start with guacamole too. Been playing that. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. My computer just froze, so I got to put my
I'm
little
interested to
passy
see,
word.
like-
Holy cow.
Because we all played it, but I'm interested to see like how much of each of us played it. Like, you know, how far.
I may have played the least between the three of us,
Love it.
but I got pretty far. But I don't know.
Okay.
But I
That's
also
what I
played Battlefield 4.
See, yeah, you got some other stuff in there.
Played Battlefield 4. The entire week I played a total of maybe an hour and a half of Battlefield 4. So
I didn't see
played
anything on your
Child of Light
timeline.
with my daughter.
Oh, did you?
again.
See, I
Still
wanted
working
to
on
do
that,
that. I
which is
wanted to.
that game is so awesome. And I've also been playing StarCraft.
Oh, yes.
How's that going?
I'm sure
So-
hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, I might have a problem. StarCraft's one of those games where like you kind of lose yourself in it, and time bends around your gameplay. And so, I mean, like, I nearly missed a class last week because I started a game at like 1 o'clock, and I finished the game. I finished a level that I was on at. And I was like, oh, I'll check what time it is. And I hopped out of the game to look at a clock, and it was 5:20, and my class started at 5:30, and I was like,
Oh.
I gotta run. Like, so that's kind of the life I've been living is.
StarCraft.
It's good. I'm glad that's.
I've been trying to balance this kind of raging addiction that's starting to
I'm pretty sure we have to
happen
have
in my
like
life.
interventions.
We might.
Sit down with everyone you love.
If my wife had any idea how much time I'm spending with this game,
Yeah,
I would be in
does she
trouble.
listen? I'm just curious. Does she know?
I intentionally.
Don't let her. Honey, don't worry
She
about it.
listens
Honesty
to
hour.
these.
Great
Yeah.
episode. It's good.
Anyway.
Only
Tune
2
in.
hours.
I've also been I've kind of remembered the frustration of teaching someone how to play StarCraft though, and that's been like the interesting thing for me this week was
Cute.
as I've talked to people in the studio, I'm like, hey, you guys should be playing StarCraft with me, and everyone's turned me down except for one person, and that guy's name is Zach Otero,
Oh, he's been playing with you.
and he's been trying to play with me. So he refuses to play any of the single player campaign, so he's not learning like the build progressions
Right,
and
right.
stuff.
Because it's kind of a tutorial
And so,
built into that.
So we've been playing online multiplayer, and he plays as Terran, and all he builds are Marines. And so, like, I end up kind of protecting him until I can't protect him anymore, and we just both get wiped out. But he's doing good. He's learning.
That's awesome.
Zach, if you're listening, you're learning. It's
doing
cool.
good.
It's just it's a different
Like
kind
getting paddle
of
ball.
it's a different kind of frustration when you're trying to teach someone because
funny.
StarCraft is like incredibly technical, and this is a PlayStation podcast, and StarCraft's not on PlayStation.
That's true.
So we're gonna leave it there. But man, it's been a lot of fun. Other than that, yard work. My yard looks like garbage.
You guys are such
Pretty much
men.
when everything is done perfectly, my yard looks like crap.
Oh.
Because
expecting that answer.
it's a very old house and like there are tons of worms in the dirt, and so like if I mow my lawn, it's like like it's just
Worms
everything
and mice
about
and voles.
everything about my yard is like it's just falling apart. So at its best, it looks bad.
Time to get the big tiller out.
Right.
So
Grind it up.
Have Drew come over.
but I
I'm
rent,
done. I'm
and so
full for the
it's not
year.
worth doing any of that. Like I'm a renter, so it's
That's
like
true, that's true. Keep it alive.
I'm only so invested.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
If the grass looks green, I'm good. So that's been my life. Keep the grass green. Keep life moving forward. And yeah.
That's cute. Yeah. Hurrah
There you go.
for that week.
Anyway, we got a lot of stuff going on this week. A lot of news happening. So Drew, can I
ready?
kick it over your way?
I am ready for
All right.
some news.
Send it to Drew.
So lots of news going on. First one I think is still kind of a rumor, so I'm not sure we can do a whole lot with it other than to say, wow, neat. But this rumor that just recently came out that Google YouTube, I guess, YouTube
Slash.
is reportedly going to be, they're prepping to buy Twitch, which is kind of a huge deal. The biggest question, I think what the word is out there is that, and this is from TechCrunch article, is that they haven't announced it, but people on the inside have said, yeah, it's going to happen. Except for the question mark where they say this may create a monopoly of online video.
Right.
Because Twitch is humongous. It's huge.
Yeah.
And so if YouTube buys Twitch, does that create an unfair advantage for them over everybody else? That's the big question. But that aside, a $1 billion deal is kind of exciting. I mean, we love Twitch. We love YouTube. That's great places for distribution of content. So to have them one and the same, what do you think might change? What might stay the same? Let's do a little suppositories.
Rachel?
I feel like they're
Suppositions.
suppositions.
Let's suppository, guys.
So I think they're similar in many ways, but they're also like very different. I don't know. I feel like the two kind of like already. I feel like they're okay being two separate entities.
Right.
Bodies.
And they could still be, right? I mean,
Right.
YouTube
Right.
can just own Twitch.
Right.
Yep.
And
Just like the
that's
Instagram, Facebook world.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like in a sense they're almost already kind of like that, sort of.
'Cause Twitch has a huge user base, so does
Right.
YouTube, and those that are doing any sort of gaming on YouTube are doing as much on Twitch. I don't
Right.
know. There's
So
not much
They're just
cross-
gonna own the world. That's
The
okay.
concern that I have, and that so I went through and read a couple of like forum discussions about this, and one of the things that I hadn't thought of initially was that Twitch is much more lenient on the whole like, are you using copyrighted material
Oh, okay.
approach to
Right.
stuff. And with video games, Nintendo, for example, last year made it so that you could not monetize a YouTube channel if you were streaming their gameplay.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was specifically through YouTube, I think. I don't
Right.
think it reached Twitch. It could have,
I would
but I'm
imagine
not.
they would
But I'm not
try.
sure. But if that's something that you could expect to see on Twitch, that it would be more difficult to be doing live streams because you'd have to have
More
you're
permission.
ultimately monetizing and making money from somebody else's creation, so from a video game. So even though you're playing it in your own way,
Right.
that is the concern that seems to be kind of coming from the gaming community, and I think that concern is founded. Like that
Right.
makes sense to me.
Right.
So you
That's
know,
kind of what
if,
YouTube has grown into, is this like protector of, okay, we'll play with the big boys, so we'll try and
Right.
protect your content from those people that are trying to put their own stuff up. So there's this kind of
there's this weird buffer zone
Buffer-
that people
yeah.
are learning,
Twitch
having to
hasn't
learn
played
how
with
to
that yet.
having to learn how to like balance and live within that buffer zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the concern that a lot of people have had. I think it's valid, and so on one hand, I totally agree with Rachel. Like if they could just remain as they are, like
right would be cool.
that would be great. I think YouTube could throw a whole lot of money into Twitch and make it a better user interface, a better environment overall. If they can add to it without pulling anything away from it, then I think we're cool. If not, Twitch is pretty cool how it is. So Yeah, it could go either way.
I can see it going either way. Number 2 on the news world, we talked about this last week. Watch Dogs will not hit 1080p on either the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. So we talked about that as kind of a rumor, and it was an unconfirmed, confirmed rumor because there were reports of back and forth. Because it was on their page for a moment.
Initially, it was
like
on their page,
1080p.
1080p, 60 frames per second.
Only on the PlayStation 4. And then now within a week, it's like a backpedal to say, no, we're going to get 900p res. And on the Xbox, you get 792.
792,
which is totally random.
Whatever that
like,
is.
I mean, think about it. The 1080p is usually accounts for like how many pixels across the
Right.
Or I guess how high the pixels are. 1080 by 1920 is a standard video size. And so to say like 792 or even 900, it's like...
So is that PR speak then?
Yeah, that's what I wonder.
at
Like,
this
what are they
point-
doing, right? It's like, is that how many pixels I get? Is 792? That's how in
How
depth
it's
this is.
measured.
I just
And how important is it?
don't know, right? Yeah,
And how important is it? I mean,
it's like
not only now are we not 1080p 60 frames per second on Sony on the PS4, we're 900p 30 frames per second.
it's all 30.
So the question that I keep thinking, because like I've seen some video clips from the game, I've seen some really high quality GIFs as well, and really, this game looks awesome. Like it looks really, really good. So does it matter? Does it matter that it's not 1080p 60 frames per second? Is that something that we're going to notice when we're playing the game? And is that important? Like, what's more important? Does it play well? Is it fun? Or are we maxing it out?
I think you would notice on larger TVs or on projectors. Like when you spread that image out over a larger space.
How big do you have to go to notice?
I don't know. I think you'd have to go over like 50 inches, 55-inch TV. Like you'd have to get pretty large with your screen or your viewing area to see a little difference between a 1080 and a 900.
Right.
Like I mean, on a 30-inch TV, on a 40-inch, even some in that 50 range, I think you'd still be able to see everything and be crisp and clean and exciting. And I guess it's the people that are maybe playing with projectors on the walls or something that are going to notice less.
Right.
But
I still think it's gonna look really good, just because like if you think about the older gens, PS3 and like even Xbox 360, like they still look good. And I still played not a ton of games, but I still definitely play games like on large TVs and on a projector. Like we used to play Call of Duty and Halo on those all the time. And like although it was still kind of like pixely, I mean like it was still fun and it was still good. Like it still looks good. Like my PS3 has incredible graphics, just that. So I mean,
so I think what we're gonna end up hearing, because to me, honestly, it's kind of a non-issue. Like I just want it to look and play well.
Right.
Like I want to have a good story and I want the gameplay to be solid. And if that's there, I'm good. But I think what we're gonna see with Watch Dogs, I almost would bet money that you're gonna see a lot of the negative reviews saying this is not next gen enough.
oh, right.
Which again, like I don't get that
That darn
argument because
lifestyle.
I kind of think what I imagine happening is they said we want these other things to be happening in the background, and we can't achieve that at 1080p 60 frames per second. Like processing wise, we can't achieve that. So if the trade-off was we're gonna tone down, the amount of pixels and replace it with more things happening,
right.
that to me is next gen. Like if more things can be happening, if things are more interactive, because that's kind of the impression that I've gotten with Watch Dogs from the very beginning is they're trying to create a truly immersive world, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
dozens of things are happening at the same time. If scaling it down a little bit so that
Allows
more
those-
things
yeah.
can be happening, like, I've seen these videos of him walking around and his cell phone is scanning the face of every person that he walks past, looking for people that he's hunting or whatever.
Right,
I don't know the story yet. But like, if I can have more NPCs in the game
Makes
when
sense.
that's happening, if I can have more real world multiplayer people in the world while that's happening because they scaled it down, that to me is an easy trade. Like I have no problem making that swap.
it's not very next gen.
I know.
No, I totally agree, and I
So
think
that's my-
that very well may be it. You got so many resources, you're gonna have to have next gen before you can have both.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Number 3, going on to talking to the creative director of The Last of Us. The porting of The Last of Us to PS4 was hell,
Quote unquote hell.
quote unquote hell. Yeah, I forgot we're on audio too. So, yes, what do you think of that? I bet it was. I mean, you'd think that's as easy to be like, oh, go from here to here, but you know that they do things right.
Well, and so here's the thing with Naughty Dog is everything they made on the PS3 was damn near perfection.
It was good.
I mean, truly.
It was amazing.
You look at the review scores for their Uncharted series, you look at it for The Last of Us, like they make the best PlayStation 3 games out there. And the reason that they did that is that they understood the architecture of the PlayStation 3 just about as perfectly as you can. And they tweaked everything to work specifically and solely on that system. The PS4 runs nothing like the PS3. Tomb Raider that they ported over to the PS4 was already on a PC.
Right. It's already.
And so that port becomes pretty easy because the architecture of PS4 is much more similar to a PC than it is to a PS3. And part of the reasoning behind that was that Sony wanted to make the PlayStation 4 more accessible to the everyday dev. And so, I mean, to me, it makes sense. Like I think that they probably had to go back and like piece by piece totally restructure this around a different architecture and a different, I mean, ultimately a totally different system, like that is nothing like the PlayStation 3. So
plus, they're going to play with that touchpad, see if they can use that somewhere, add some of that stuff. So there's some pretty cool stuff. I wanted to point out how cool the article is. That this came from Game Planet. Down towards the middle, they mistyped it, and so instead of Druckmann, they have Drunkman. According to Drunkman, this happened.
Does it say that through the whole thing?
No, because
that's only the one.
It's only the one. Up top, there's Druckmann. And
oh my gosh! Hang on, I'm going to screenshot this and send it to him.
PlayStation 4 version runs at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and is a straightforward port, according to Drunkman. Then there's some ideas how to use it. Anyway, so exciting. Moving on to Nose.
I like it.
Yeah.
Nose goes.
Moving on to
That's
number
funny.
4. Man, it's the middle of the day, too. It's not even early.
Wow.
Number 4. This one, Sony CEOs, executives, taking a 50% pay cut and losing their bonuses. I know.
Oh, no.
It's just Rachel slaps her face. What?
Oh, no.
This one coming from IGN.
You want me to get into it?
Yeah,
I can take it. Yeah. So basically, the president of Sony, Kaz Hirai, announced that he'd be taking a 50% bonus, as will most of the executives throughout Sony. This is a very Japanese thing to do, right? That you have solidarity with your company and that you take personal ownership in the winnings and failings of your company. And so, the reality is, this has nothing to do with the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 has been a huge success. This is the losses that Sony is seeing is coming from their PC division that they're actually trying to sell off.
Because the loss was like $1.2 billion loss.
They're taking huge losses, but it's from a division that they're trying to get rid of. So, as a sign of solidarity, they're taking these pay cuts. The reality is, what do you think? Maybe $10 million total that they're not accepting in bonuses. Maybe 20. The fact of the matter is, $20 million to Sony is kind of a blip on the radar.
Right. But it's
which is crazy. That's crazy. Right?
It's a show of hey, I'm not going to sit on my golden throne if we're not doing so well.
Right. I mean, and that they recognize that they need to improve and that they need to be pushing forward and they need to be improving. And if you're not improving, if the company struggles, we should struggle as well. And so I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Rachel?
I just think that sometimes it's hard to remember that Sony's like a wider company. They make so many other things.
Right.
And if you compare it to other things on the market, you don't see Sony as much like in TVs and cell phones. Like Sony has an Xperia cell phone and don't hear about that
and
or
a
anything
bazillion different kind of 4K televisions.
Yeah, so it's like things you don't typically hear of. So I mean, I think it's sometimes you got to remember that they do other stuff too.
Totally.
Excellent. Last one for our news segment. This one, $399 Xbox One without a Kinect is their strategy to combat the PlayStation 4. So VentureBeat kind of breaks down the Microsoft strategy for their going against PlayStation 4. They've been losing 2-1 for the last 3-4 months. Right, they're just missing out on a lot of sales, and so in order to kind of
I think
overcome
more
that,
than 2-1.
Yeah, it's almost 3-1 on some of it, right? It's been forever.
Sony announced 2 weeks ago that they had sold 7 million units, right? Was it 7?
I think up to 7.
So they had sold 7, and Microsoft at the same time released that they had shipped 5 million. Shipped. So there's a very important distinction between shipped and sold.
So like they could be in stores just sitting there.
Which, if you go into a store, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, quite literally, if you go into a Costco, if you go into a GameStop or a Target, I've never been to a Target that has had a PlayStation 4 on stock. I have been into a crap ton. In fact, I've never been in one where they didn't have at least one Xbox One in stock. I walked into a Costco a couple weeks ago and they had a full-out like pyramid of Xbox Ones.
Yeah, in
With
3 weeks
bundled
it'll be
with Titanfall for $450.
$450.
So it was $50 off with Titanfall, essentially the same price as a PS4, still not selling. So sorry.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what it is. And so their plan is to do one without the Kinect, and it'll go on sale in about 3 weeks for $399, no Kinect, but it's the Xbox One.
Right.
So Rachel actually watched the whole breakdown of this. So can you
I
kind
did.
of share with
so
us
they talked
their
about
idea?
how they're listening to their viewers and their customers, and they think that this is how they will combat with the PlayStation 3 or the PS4, since that doesn't have that thing. So they're going to take the Kinect away so more people can afford the Xbox One and have the Xbox One and use it for different purposes. But they emphasize that you will not get the full Xbox One experience unless you buy it with the Kinect. And they talk about all the features that the Kinect offers, and it's just like, okay, but you're still taking it away and selling it. Another thing I noticed about this article is that this article is from VentureBeat, and it talks about how Microsoft, or improvements and additions are also coming to Xbox Live, Microsoft's $10 a month premium multiplayer service. And what this service provides is more free games. It provides free games. So on top of your gold, if you pay an extra $120 thing, you get free games. And what it sounds like to me is that it's PlayStation Plus.
Right.
And they're talking about, like, when you had Xbox Gold, you could get free games occasionally, but it is nothing compared to this one. So apparently with the Xbox Gold, the free games, you can transfer it to other consoles, and you can once you lose the gold membership, you lose the game essentially. So with this premium pass, you can like transfer them and save them, and the game essentially becomes yours. But my concern with that is, again, it's $10 a month for this service. So that's $120.
Is that on top of?
It's on top.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it's on top of the gold. So you can have it without the gold. And
That's crazy.
but
That's
anyways, they're
wild.
trying to compete that way, and fun stuff.
So I would say, first of all, competition's good for everybody. So it's important that this
Right.
happened. And I would say that Phil Spencer's on the right path. So Phil Spencer is the new Xbox chief. He's the boss of Xbox, right? And he's a gamer. I've listened to several interviews that he's done, and he seems to be someone who understands the gamer mentality and what people want out of a system. Where Don Matrick, the former Xbox boss, you know, the guy that walked up on stage at E3 and talked about basically the entertainment side the entire time. Like, one of the things that he's kind of famously quoted as saying was his reference about the Xbox One being only available online and how that was a good thing. And so someone mentioned, well, what if a military member is taking an Xbox One, like say he's a submariner.
Right.
He works on a submarine, or he's deployed downrange. Like so many soldiers, so many Marines, so many airmen, so many like Navy personnel bring their Xbox Ones their Xboxes with them when they deploy, because they got nothing else to do. Like that's their distraction and break from reality.
Right.
And Don Matrick was like, well, we have a system for them then. It's called an Xbox 360.
Oh, wow.
So that's like, that really kind of is
They
telling
can't
of
move
like,
forward with us.
he just wasn't doing a good job. Phil Spencer, I think, came in immediately and has said, you know what, we need to be listening. This is the problem. Sony listened.
Right. And they
Like the
changed a lot of stuff.
PlayStation 3 launch was a disaster. And the first 2 or 3 years of the PlayStation 3 really was a disaster for Sony. But they listened and they implemented the things that gamers were saying they wanted. And because they did that, the PlayStation 4 has been a huge success. Xbox, on the other end, with Don Matrick at the helm, was saying, it doesn't matter what you guys want because you're wrong.
This is what you
This is
want.
the future.
Yeah.
This is what you want. This is the future. This is where things are headed. So we're giving it to you now, whether you like it or not. And because of that, they've suffered. So now you have Phil Spencer coming out and saying, listen, we've heard you. We're shaking things up. We're changing things around. Is it is it enough to pull people over there?
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. I think what you're going to see with this generation of gaming is I think you're going to see a lot more people that have both consoles eventually. Like
that makes sense.
the $399 price point on the Xbox One makes it something that I think people are going to be able to say, you know,
Let's get
for
both.
me,
I have
it's
one
worth having
upstairs, one
both.
downstairs.
It's worth having both so that I can play the exclusives. I think they're probably going to stick with the PlayStation 4 for the third-party titles because it's a more powerful system. But to be able to play some of those exclusives, like people love Halo. Like regardless
Also, Halo 5, fall of 2015.
fall
Yeah,
of 2015,
there's a
that
news
was
story
announced
for
too.
it.
PT dubs.
Which was like a big jaw drop of like, what? Come on.
That's a long time.
Yeah, seriously.
That's a long time.
So whatever they
enough.
get.
So I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
I'm with you. I think
One more
that's a great
thing
thought.
too is that it's finally rumored that Microsoft is removing the gold requirement to access Netflix, Amazon Prime Instant Video, and other third-party video apps
About
on
time.
Xbox.
Yeah, how
I
long
know
did
that's
it
what I'm
take?
thinking. I'm like, finally, I can use Netflix again on my 360.
Oh,
Will you though? Does it matter?
I don't
at
know,
this
man. I just no.
you should just give it to a homeless
I've
guy.
already completely like
You'd
converted.
Put it,
so
Yeah.
put it in the shelf somewhere. Put it in the closet.
I only have it for my old games.
So this has been some like, if I can ask for your opinion, because I mean I have not been an Xbox 360 gamer for I played
since like junior high.
the Xbox 360
I played
when
early
Elder Scrolls Oblivion was out. Like that was the last game I was like fully invested in and played the crap out of. So that was what 04,
Oh, really?
05? I don't know. It was a while ago. It was early in the devs in the 360 cycle. So I haven't been with Xbox for a long time. So I don't know
Like
what's
it's an
that
ex-girlfriend.
transition like for you? Like
It's better.
is it?
I don't really have because like I said, it's just in a sense it's like cheaper and it looks better and I don't really know. It's like more I don't know.
Do you feel like the PlayStation Plus has made a difference as
that's
far
a
as value
huge
for
thing, and it's like-
for it goes?
They're more I want to say like they communicate better as well almost. And I just like how everything's set up versus the Xbox. Or I don't know, I've seen the Xbox transition as well. So I've had it since the dashboard was those little flip things,
Yeah.
you know, and I've watched the avatars come and it's different. And it's just kind of interesting to see how much like the Xbox has changed versus how much the PlayStation 3 has changed,
Yeah.
which is very dramatic in both senses. And I don't know, I was like ready. Like I grew up and I was like, hey, Xbox. I like broke up with it. I just couldn't. I was done. So.
And you're happy with the breakup?
I'm happy with the
Cool.
breakup. I'm better with the PlayStation 3, and I know like there are more game titles as well because that was the hardest part when you had an Xbox was that I was missing out on The Last of Us and I was missing out on Uncharted and I was missing out on everything. You were just better
games.
graphics even,
Yeah.
free games, and I was just stuck on Halo for like 4 years. So
Cool.
you know.
Makes sense.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Makes sense.
Well, that
It's like
wraps
a-
up our news, right?
Yeah, that was like a little mini topic inside the news.
I like it.
Beautiful.
Cute.
Yep, that's it. That's the news.
Cool. Then, so the $399 Xbox, I don't think is available yet, right? It's something
June
coming
9th.
out in June.
June 9th.
But
$399.
we do have a couple new releases coming out on Tuesday, right?
Quite a
Right
few.
away.
So
Yeah.
let's kick off the new releases.
Cool. So these are the new releases of. Let me scroll down here. There's a lot actually.
A lot.
You
Good
brought up
ones.
that link, and it was like bam. So I think this is like the introduction of summer, and summer is like
Yes,
new releases,
yes.
new games, new movies, new everything.
Yay.
So dropping on May 20th, there's quite a few things. There is Mugen Soul Z, which I heard from a third-party source that it was not.
Eh.
It was meh. Wolfenstein: The New Order.
How did he get a review copy?
He's taking them all the time.
Really?
They're KT data.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah, they get tons of them.
What the
I would say
crap?
tons, but they have the connections.
This guy. All right. Sorry.
So, Wolfenstein: The New Order, Transistor, which
Yeah, I'm
Jeff
looking
just
forward
showed
to
the trailer
Wolfenstein
for.
and Transistor look awesome.
Yeah, they both look good.
Sparkle 2 again, Dragon Beat,
Sparkle
Legend of
2.
Pinball, Heroin Dream 2, and this is not this is
Yeah,
heroin
is it-
with an E.
With an E, heroin dream.
I saw it and I was like,
Every time I hear that heroin dream, I'm like, I'm thinking rubber freaking
Yeah,
tubes
yeah.
and That's seriously every single time I hear
Heroin
it.
Dream.
So it's heroin with an E.
Basketball
Theme
Diaries,
Dream too. Yeah, right though.
like Wonder Woman dream.
Pretty much. Neoplanet, which is not an interpretation of Neopets.
Oh,
I know. I was like,
Oh.
what? That's kind of cool, but it's not. R-Type Dimensions.
that one looks, just for the nostalgia, that looks fun.
Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga.
Digital Devil.
Woo!
damn.
And then Tokyo 23 Ku Seifuku Wars.
Can I just say something?
You
These are some
great
ridiculous.
Job.
These are some
Thanks.
ridiculous game titles.
Yep. And this came from PlayStation's blog, and it's the drop, little arrows on it, and they all look very Asian-like
Yes,
games.
a lot of
If you couldn't tell from the names.
a lot of Asian gaming coming out.
Now, what about the games I want to see?
I just hang on though. I gotta say, like these are seriously like.
little shop.
Are these not bad names for a game?
No, Shin Megami Tensei. I mean,
Come on.
The average
what doesn't
Joe
speak
who's-
to you?
Tokyo 23 Ku Seifuku Wars. Like, I just.
My game's gonna
Mugen
be
Souls
called-
even. Mugen Souls
Yeah.
just sound like they don't sound like games that I want to play. Wolfenstein, Transistor, those sound cool to me.
You don't want to play The Legend of Pinball?
Sparkle 2 sounds better to me than Dragon Beat Legend of Pinball.
And then I just want to know where the first ones were, as
Sorry.
always.
That's all May 20th.
Heroin
That's
Dream
huge. That's huge.
2.
It's
Yeah.
true. There was no first.
There is maybe that one was without the E.
Calling it a dream, though, even that, like, it just sounds like you're talking about a heroin trip.
I think of Heroin Hero
Dream.
from South Park is what I think of.
Anyway,
So that was just May 20th. So
that's
be
a lot.
sure
So that's this tomorrow.
Yeah. Assuming this gets out today.
Tuesday. I
It'll get
know.
out tomorrow. So
Okay, so
it's out
today.
today.
Today, May 20th. Today.
Unless you're watching live and then it's tomorrow.
This is so confusing. How do we do this?
May 21st is Drakengard 3. May 27th.
And that could be your tomorrow, May 21st. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to confuse
These all
them more.
come out tomorrow.
Yeah.
On May 27th, the ever so awaited Watch Dogs and Ace Combat Infinity. I know, just a big yes.
It's about freaking time.
I
Yep,
know.
got a week.
You know what,
know.
though? So it releases the 27th. That means that their embargo date is not until the 27th as well. I read a thing that the embargo is the 27th. That actually kind of makes me nervous now.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't like when
Wait.
embargoes
When they don't
are the day the game comes
We
out.
talked about this before.
Yep. That makes me nervous.
That worries you?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Last of Us, right? The Last of Us embargo was up like 2 weeks before the game came out. And that embargo being lifted and the flood of 10 out of 10s that it was getting absolutely created this like need to get the game. And so, typically when you have a really, really good game, that embargo date gets lifted earlier so that reviewers can talk about it and say, yeah, this is a game you need to play. The only thing I think that could possibly like, so there are two options to this. Either it's not as good as they hoped it would be, so they're holding on to it, or potentially it could just be that they don't want people streaming. I mean, once the embargo's lifted, like those guys can talk about it, they can stream it, they can show video,
Yeah.
and so hopefully it's the
I
second.
think KT's gonna stream the crap out of it. Just
Hopefully it's the
KT
second.
Dana.
Maybe
of
it's
the
just
two.
a Ubisoft thing. Have they released other ones out earlier?
I don't know.
Interesting. But
We'll look into it and get back to you.
They could always be just waiting until the very last second because we know that Watch Dogs have been pushed back over and over and over again. So maybe they're just like, just
get it out.
just holding it
Yeah.
back as far as they
Cool.
can. So yeah, that's May 27th. Also Ace Combat Infinity. Woo. June. Then we jump into June. So June. I can't believe like May's almost over.
I know, it's crazy.
So June 3rd is Murdered Soul Suspect. June 10th is Enemy Front and How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Aww.
However, the movie does look pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It does.
June 17th is the Battle Princess of Arcadia's
Ooh, I
And-
might have to check out
right?
Battle Princesses.
and EA Sports UFC.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Where you
play
can
that
get your
game.
swole on.
Where you can get your swole on virtually. Although in this game you get to play as Bruce Lee too, right? Isn't that the
Ooh,
thing?
I had no idea.
So they're putting Bruce Lee into the game, and so as a Bruce Lee fan,
Right.
I'm torn. On
He
one
has to
hand,
win
I'm
every
like,
time.
that's kind of cool, but the I mean, let's be real for a second, okay? Like
UFC is a totally different world than martial arts.
Bruce
in
Lee,
general, right?
Bruce Lee's awesome, and he was a good fighter, and he was really fast, and he was really strong, and he was great, and he was a fun dude, and he has some of the like if you look up like
Jeff's
like
Dream Man.
top 50 quotes about X, you're going to see quotes from Bruce Lee because he was an intelligent dude too.
Right.
He was a good guy.
Sure,
he
sure.
would get his freaking trash kicked in a UFC fight.
'Cause the rules are different.
There is no way that 140-pound Bruce Lee goes in and fights George St. Pierre and walks away alive.
I'm with you.
Unless he mastered teleportation.
That's like saying
Which he may have.
I believe
possibly.
it. Who knows?
He's
Bruce
kind
Lee.
of half ninja. But like real life, Bruce Lee would get destroyed.
I'm with you. That's why video games
Like
are so much fun.
put Bruce Lee against freaking what's the
very-
WCW fighter dude who came in and
Can't
started
see
fighting
me.
UFC?
Can't see me.
Uh,
The John Cena.
Sorry.
no, not John Cena.
That's the only one I know.
Not Triple H. What the crap's his name?
I
The
don't
big,
know. I
massive
watch these
dude with like
They're
the
all big, massive
quadruple
dudes.
double X freaking gloves. His hands were like the size of bricks.
King Kong Bundy.
He looked like a
Donkey
giant
Kong.
Donkey
monster.
Kong, yeah.
But like, I'm blanking on his name. But like, dude, honestly, Bruce Lee would get his butt kicked for real. I love Bruce Lee.
We
I
can
hold
tell.
him in very high regard. He would
Did you
get
have a
his
poster
freaking.
of him in your
I
room?
wore a shirt with "Enter the Dragon" on it, and it's. No, but honestly, he would
believe
totally
it.
get his trash kicked, and so it's kind of like
It's a little cameo. Let him have his cameo.
if he was in the game and I was playing and I was winning, I'd be like, I'm a liar. This is not.
Yeah, because every game has
This
so
is
much
not
truth
true.
to it.
Real.
Reality is so grounded.
Speaking of
So
reality,
StarCraft.
in reality, we played Guacamelee,
Yes,
a
let's get into
real life game about real
Fighting.
life
20 minutes
people.
to talk all about it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Real life people.
It's our
So,
indie
Rachel?
game. Oh wait, I need a jingle. Indie game. It's the indie game. It's the indie game of the week.
I
That
just
was
watched
good.
Jeff's eyes roll to the back.
I'm gonna pat.
All right, so I had to caps lock the title. Our indie game of the week was Guacamelee.
Yeah,
with an
dude.
exclamation point. And it was
You kind of have to spell it
right?
in all caps,
you
right?
have to.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was in lowercase, and I was like, "This looks incorrect."
Yeah, it can't be lowercase.
So it was published, directed, written, blah 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 blah. Everything by Drinkbox Studios.
I love that name too, by the way.
That's a good one.
Like
Even their
it
little logo.
reminds me of Juice Sacks.
Yes.
It's a drink box and it's a juice sack.
Drinkbox Studios, and also the warning at the beginning was like, "This may cause epileptic seizures,"
Right.
and it definitely could have
And
caused
it was like
epileptic
it was
seizures.
the first game I've ever played that had that warning where I was like actually concerned.
Right, me as well. Once those neon colors were flashing, I was like,
But how
my ears are
freaking
down.
cool were the neon colors
But it was
flashing?
perfect.
And,
I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. So, the controls of the game is like your typical button layout: square to melee, triangle for actions, D-pad and move. However, my favorite button was L1 because it turns you into a chicken, which you never
when
see in
that
video
happened,
games.
I lost my mind. Like I was freaking losing it when I turned into a chicken and like your attack is just like I lost my mind. I was laughing so freaking hard.
Right.
I didn't have anybody to share it with, but it was
how
pretty fun.
pretty
fantastic.
awesome.
It was pretty awesome.
So that's basically and it was also a co-op game. So as I mentioned earlier, I played with one of my pals, and it's pretty fun, pretty funsies. The story of the game is you play as Juan, and I just thought that was the most. I loved it.
Yes.
I loved that
There's
was
so
the name.
much cliche.
Wake up, Juan. Anyways, how also but female, inner feminine things. I played as Tostada,
Nice.
which is the female character.
I played a tostada too.
Did you really?
Probably
She's
about
easier to look
So
at.
Drew's a female.
40% of it, maybe 50. I'm
She's
half and
just
half.
easier to look at.
Yeah.
And your goal is, and you are the great luchador, also exclamation point. Your goal is to save the El Presidente's daughter, who has been captured by the evil Carlos Calaca, who has a pretty interesting story, which you find out later in the game. You meet, I spelled it wrong.
I was already
How
saying.
embarrassing.
You.
That's okay. You didn't spell nil drunk, man.
It was
so
because
it's cool.
it was next
Yeah.
to goat, so I
Yeah,
thought goat
yum.
meat. Anyways, you meet MEET, a goat man who gives you more powers along the way of the game, such as headbutting, a rooster uppercut,
Headbutting.
a frog jump, pile driver type move, and you collect heart pieces to gain HP, skull pieces to like sugar skulls, those things. The whole theme of the game is basically
Delicious
it?
Mexican food.
Oh, Dia de Muertos, which is
Yep.
Day of the Dead. So you collect those little skull heads to get stamina, and the more stamina you have, the more of those headbutting moves you can use. You also learn a wall jump, or goat jump as it was titled in the game. And
Appropriately
you
called a goat jump,
and you can swap between the world of the dead and the world of the living. So
which is so awesome.
That
which
was
was
fun.
way cool. So
That
when you
was fun.
swap parallels, like everyone in the town is a skeleton and different colors and everything. and then
Different
you swap
doors are
back.
open, different doors are closed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the controls and the story of the game. It's pretty cool. Who wants to go first?
Drew, you take off.
Yes.
Throw on you.
I found it kind of a fun mix of this kind of Castlevania side scroller, up down scroller, which kind of was fun. And then you'd get into these little battles where the room would lock down and you'd have like an arena to fight in.
Yeah.
And that to me felt like my style of Tekken, because I'm a button masher. It's just like, what am I doing? And with this game, it's not just here's your 4 buttons, but every button with the left thumbstick
Right.
is like a different move, like
It's
you were
combo
saying.
moves, yeah.
It's tons of combos, and then you can like string them together. So I'd find myself just like
The more
slamming
combo,
people.
the higher the combo, the more cash you got back after the fight. Yeah.
So I'd combo them up and play with them. I really enjoyed that style and thought that was a lot of fun.
Did you? So I love that you can incorporate into that combo like a body slam or a throw.
Right. Which
Wasn't that
It was
awesome?
Final,
way
yeah.
later that I actually figured out. Like I'd grab them and it'd give you this arrow of where you're going to throw them, and I'd throw them a lot. And it was way late in the game before I realized that you could also not, as you threw them, you could do that pile driver or some of the other stuff
Yeah.
that you upgraded after you bought those upgrades. So I enjoyed that. It was good. I loved looking in the nooks and crannies and like seeing something and being like, I should be able to jump from here to here and back to here and jump up. Like I started to
Yeah.
play that, and I'd try like 20 or 30 times on something, and I
It
just
had a
find
puzzle
myself,
effect
the
to it,
puzzle
yeah.
style. I'd like try and figure out what am I getting, where am I going, and so that's probably why I played as many hours as I did. So I loved the puzzling. A lot of fun on the combos, but I felt like there were some of those that you had like this a microsecond to figure it out. Like
Yeah.
the little like your window of opportunity for jumping from here to there to up is like 6 button combos. Your fingers have to like tie knots around
Yeah.
themselves to kind of get up because you talk about wall jumping, and so you can jump between walls to climb things. Then you have your dimension switch on top of a rooster uppercut that makes
Yeah.
you fly up higher,
And
and
then
then
you
there's
have
the what is it called, the dashing derp on top of the dodge.
Yeah.
So there are times that you have to jump, double jump, do a dashing derp along with the rooster upcut into a change the dimension back into the dodge to get through some barbs. It all
Yeah.
just, you have to do anyway. Half of me loved it, half of me hated it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was
Right.
frustrating. I'd go 20 or 30 times on something, and if I knew that it was like, okay, it's 500 coins, I'm okay. I'd move
Yeah,
on.
it's a skull.
And by hate it, you mean like super frustrated by it.
Frustrated.
But like
I'd stay up till
you
3 in the
morning.
still
I walked away
can't
from a
help
few.
but enjoy it.
Yeah, oh yeah, the gameplay, like knowing that I still had somewhere to go,
Right.
was fine. There was one place where I got stuck and had to YouTube it and figure out what am I supposed to do? I can't jump that high. I can't, I didn't have my double jump, or,
Okay.
But yet I know that this is the only way for me to go. So there was that. I played probably like I wanted to finish it. I thought I was so close. I really
know.
wanted to finish it. So I left my wife at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock last night, and I was like, kiss, good night. I'm gonna stay up and finish this thing in an hour and a half.
It's work.
Gosh, I got to one of the final battles. You fight Flamehead, and then later on you fight
Lady.
Carlos.
Javier Jaguar
Yeah.
and Lady. I think I got Lady too. So did any of
I
you
got
get
as
to the
far
Jaguar?
as-
Did
I
you get
got
the
as
Jaguar?
far as the Lady.
Okay, so I got to the Jaguar, and I kid you not, this pisses me off so bad. I played from probably 1:30 to 3 o'clock. One arena with that
Don't
damn
tell me that,
Jaguar.
because I'm not gonna want to get that far now.
No, you can
I
do
got
it.
stuck on
I
the
was
Lady
just
for a
stupid.
while.
Man, it was impossible. He changes his shield,
You can do
and so
it.
you have to do different effects to knock
Yeah.
off the shield.
Mm-hmm.
But yet I read a lot of reviews on him, but he is the hardest battle, they say. But he's cheap. He just doesn't play by the rules.
Yeah.
He's constantly using flame attacks and things that you can't block
I was
from.
gonna
and-
say, I bet his hits like are 2
and they-
hits and you're dead.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. Anyway, so I probably played that one battle 300 plus times. I'm not kidding. At least 300 times. It was insane. So that really frustrated
I'll
me.
count mine when I get there.
I turned it off and decided to go to bed because I figured 4 hours of sleep would be enough to get me
Right.
through the day. Just as I was, locking the doors and heading back to bed, my wife's coming down the hallway in her, sleeping stupor, and she was just like, "Don't tell me you just stopped playing." I was like, "Yeah, I just couldn't beat this guy." And she just looked at me and she was like, "I'm gonna burn it. I'm just gonna burn the whole thing. You are gonna be complaining for the next 3 days that you were tired, and you're not gonna be able to make this up."
That's the key is you just never say like, yeah, I'm just really tired. And
I just won't say it.
If I'm up late
Just
playing,
look it.
I'll be
I just
like,
won't say it.
oh, I just got up to get something to eat.
Cereal.
I always make sure I have both cereal in my hand, like eating it. She's like, seriously, you're up this late? I'm like, I was hungry.
Oh, no,
You can't be
man.
mad
She
at
knew
me
I
for
was
being
playing.
hungry.
She knew I was playing. Anyway, so She just keeps reminding me I'm not young anymore. Anyway, I love the game.
People
I
live till they're
cannot-
90, Drew. You're
This-
young.
This morning I wanted to get up and play some more because I wanted
Yeah.
to beat that bastard. And that's when she told me she was going to burn it. So I withheld. Anyway,
Scared.
yeah. I loved it. I'm excited for you guys to get that far.
Yeah.
It's a fun puzzle.
It gets better.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
Awesome.
there's so many more moves that you just keep adding on. It's
Yeah.
just when you think there's nothing else, he's like, oh, and now you can do this. I got a goat dash where you can go from one wall, you hang on a wall, and you can zip like across
What?
like chasms, like canyons. So you can get to a place where it's like, oh, this is the end. And if
Go
I
and
jump
play
out,
it.
right? And then you climb on the wall and you like shoot across 7
That's
screens.
awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And then you're
I-
dimension switching while you're flying.
Like,
I just want to beat it.
so I wrote a bunch of notes. They got deleted several times. So I'm just gonna wing it. But first of all, like the one thing that I'll say that I really, really wish that they had that they don't is voice acting. I wish that they
Yes.
all would have had a voice.
I wanted to
would have
hear-
loved to hear all the voices.
Hilarious stuff.
The
like this.
accent would have been too heavy.
You wouldn't
Probably,
understand
but
it.
That's what would have been so fun. Like they still could have thrown up.
You broke another one of my statues, chicken boy. Yeah, no,
I would have
loved
loved.
that. I would love
I
that.
would have loved to have had that. Like, the sassy, flirty chick when she's like, very heavy. Petty.
I was gonna
I was
mention
like,
that, too.
I was dying when she did that. Like that is so clever and
That's-
funny and
It was
like
well written.
She was
Oh.
referring to Javier Jaguar.
right.
Which is why it's so funny.
I just love it. Like, I desperately wish that it would have been voiced. I wish we could have heard Carlos talk. I wish we could have heard the different villains and everybody get into it. I wish we could have heard Juan,
Right,
talk about things. And the Goat Man, like the Goat Man was so funny. He was
was
always like
hilarious.
pissed at you for breaking his statues.
And then he'd give you a new.
So
You know,
Power.
that's
I-
like honestly the only negative that I can say for me about the game was that I really wish they would have had voice acting. What were you gonna say?
I don't know, because I've talked to a lot of Hispanics, and I don't think it would have been. I think it would have taken away.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know.
I turned off the Hispanic. Did you? I did that. I turned the music all the way down to 0 because I could not stand that like constant mariachi.
Oh, see, I love
Mariachi.
it.
So I turned it down until I got to that one of those later levels. I turned it back on.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Everywhere I went, I was like, yeah.
So on the voice
chilling.
acting, I wonder if, because you can read it really fast and kind
Right.
of talk to people and just button through it, and so I
Uh-huh.
wonder if voice acting would slow that down so much more that you'd have to sit and listen.
Most
I don't
games
know.
most games that are voice
You can
acted
still
though, you can
jump
still
it.
hit X and just jump
Just
through it.
yeah.
I would have. I don't know. For me, I really like being able to hear someone talk. I feel like
Jeff
not
likes
being able to
stories.
hear it, I feel like it takes me out of it. Like, oh,
Okay, okay.
it's so
We'll all play
visual.
together and I will
it's
read
so
to you
visual
in a-
and it's great.
I'll get
That's
my
what it
family
should've been.
together, and
Rachel's family will come down.
You are now
read
a
it.
chicken boy.
You're a chicken boy. That was the weirdest accent.
Asian.
Some kind of Asian.
Corinnicus.
Anyway,
Enjoyed it.
outside of that, man. So I loved everything about this game outside of the voice acting stuff. Like the colors are
Oh, wow.
so fantastic. I love that it's this Metroidvania kind of side-scrolling, but it's open world too. Like you can go anywhere in this world that you want to go. Anywhere that
back
you want to
and-
go, you can go wherever. You can go explore. You can go find more treasure chests. You can, help people solve their problems. One guy. I talked to one guy who was like, chickens have infested my house. Can you help me get them back in their cage? And you're body slamming chickens. Like,
Yeah.
you're body slamming chickens into a cave or a cage. Like, how fantastic is that? And when you finally turn into the chicken, when they curse you and you turn into a chicken, I was literally like laughing out loud. And even just running through the little tiny cave things through the walls as the
Yeah.
chicken, I was laughing the
Going
whole time I was there.
under,
Like, this
yeah.
is so awesome that I'm a chicken running through the walls, and when it tells you to attack people and you're like, like
pecking at
at people to death. Oh my gosh, I loved it. This game though is not an easy game. I do need to say that it is not an easy game.
Right.
I quit at midnight last night
You're a wiser man than I am.
trying to get up the tree. That's where I'm at. I'm on the tree where I'm trying to
That's
scale
what I
the
had
tree.
to Google.
And
Not that
I
far.
I was like, I'm getting past this point and then I'm quitting. And it's the point where you have to jump between. You're not at the tree yet?
I don't know.
No,
I didn't have a
it's
problem
tool
with
tree.
it.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think
Okay.
you'll know the tree when you get there.
Awesome.
So you can switch. Can you switch between dimensions
Yeah,
yet?
I just got that. I think.
Okay, so you're headed to the tree now. so you've got these points that you have to jump back and forth,
And you have to swap
and you've
at
got
the
the double
perfect
jump
time.
now. So you jump up, and then you jump, double jump, swap, land, because you've got spikes
dimension
on the
spikes.
you've got spikes on the walls too. So you have to like jump, double jump, switch between dimensions, switch back dimensions, land, hit triangle to hold
Yep.
onto the wall,
Yep.
calm down, and then do it again 6 times. And that was like probably on number 150. I was like, if I don't effing get through this, I'm gonna lose my mind. And I was like, when was my last save? So I like looked on my map to see where the last save spot was, and I was like, it's too far away. I've come too far I've come too far to not get past this point. And so I spent the next like 45 minutes trying to jump up a wall. When I finally got there, I saved. I was like, I'm done. If I don't stop, I'm gonna be pissed. And I don't want to be pissed at this game because I love it too much. Like, it's too much fun. So I'm excited to get back into it and finish it up.
Yeah, I've got to find some sort of
Yeah,
magic.
I want to. I need to.
So what about you, Rachel?
I loved it. So if you don't know this about me, my last name's Hernandez, which which typically implies that I'm Mexican. So I don't know. It was really nice to get into my inner
Which is
Mexican
weird considering
roots.
you're Irish.
I know.
Red hair,
I
freckles.
squinties. I know. Well, I don't know. Whenever I tell people, whenever they see my last name, they're like, "Whoa, are you Hispanic?" And I'm like, "It's you, yeah."
It's so weird. You look
I
so
am. I
Anglo-Saxon.
know, but they're like, "Whoa!" But I always thought you were Asian. I'm like, that too.
Go figure.
Wow, it takes 2 parents to have a child. 2 different type of people.
So where does the Irish come in?
I know.
Weird.
Oh, that's a different story for a different day. But yeah. So that's always fun. So yeah. So I don't know. I was like really familiar with a lot of it. So the Dia de blah, 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 even though I can't even say it.
You know that word.
I know, I totally know. The Dia de Muertos theme is what they were doing. So like the bright colors, one thing that's underrated is the Mexican art style.
Totally.
Which is one reason why it's underrated, because when it's done badly, it's done badly. Like there was a Beto's outside of my house that was just neon green, and it was the most obnoxious thing ever. So I don't know, they did this well with the flashy colors.
So well.
And I don't know, they did it really well. And it was really pretty to see it when it was done correctly. Another thing that I enjoyed about the game was all of the little hidden, like, I can't think of the word, the similarity, like gags they did almost. So
Yeah.
there was a QR
Easter eggs.
Yeah,
Ish,
kind of.
right?
So like there's a QR code poster, and then you take a picture of the QR code, and it's literally just a message that says, "Congratulations, use the QR code scanner." I was like, cool. And totally. There's also like a Magusta face poster, a Grumpy Cat poster, a Tequila Bros poster. And then also when you defeat like one of the first bosses, like Little Dragon Guy, when you get to the very end of the lava, you hit a hammer, and then it bricks off, and it's yeah, they're copying Mario Bros. And then
Wait,
you get to the
what?
president's daughter.
What are you
missed
talking
that?
about?
Right.
A
Awkward.
hammer?
Well, it
It's
was
like
a little
a
key hammer
axe
at the end
thing.
of the thing.
Where?
The very
The
beginning,
very
when you,
beginning.
and then as soon as you get past that, the lady says, "I'm sorry, but your princess is in another castle."
up.
How'd you miss that?
I did not see that.
That's
Yeah,
for real?
totally
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
For
Yep.
real?
Yep.
Oh
It's like
my
the very first when you
gosh.
save the you
Oh,
had in there to
Presidente's
save
daughter.
Presidente's daughter.
Yeah, and she was in a cage, and then they take her
There's
away
a
to
lot of
another
that kind of
castle.
fun stuff.
Yeah,
I
so,
totally didn't see that. That's so frustrating to me.
Start over.
Right,
Start
you
over
have
from
to
the
start
top.
it over. So it was like cool things like that, and I liked almost every aspect of the game. I thought it was really cool.
It was
I
winning.
want to beat it because you guys just keep talking about it. So
I'm going back.
I'm gonna
going back.
probably beat it tonight, and maybe not do some responsibilities that I told myself I was gonna do after this.
That's what you should do.
Right.
Gaming's more
Sorry, Rachel.
important. Where are we at
So
time-wise?
this is we're 4 minutes from 1 hour.
4 minutes from an hour.
Do we
Should
or
we
do
do
we
one
not?
topic?
We can
Let's-
probably hit
let's-
that.
Let's hold. This is.
No?
I think this is a good topic.
You wanna
Let's
go
hold
deeper?
this.
All
Let's
right.
hold this for a week.
Oh, you know
So-
what we could do? The chat room is saying that they'd like to have an entire show episode just about how babies are formed because Rachel was doing such a good job of explaining that. So
Oh,
let's just talk about 4 minutes about
man.
making babies.
Let's just do all.
Gamers love that
Pretty
stuff.
sad. I'm the most, especially
just
for a
kidding.
female. I'm the most unculturally cultured person you'll ever meet. They're always like, Rachel, do you know Korean? I'm like, nope. Well, do you know Spanish? No.
I'm the
My
most
parents-
culturally diverse uncultured person.
I eat a lot of rice and I eat a lot of burritos. That's about as cultured as I get.
Awesome.
So 2 people, babies.
That's fantastic.
To me,
No
that sounds like
hand
the perfect
motions.
amount of culture.
I know, right?
Who needs culture? Come on.
Just getting yelled at
America.
in different languages my whole life was pretty cool. So I know all the bad words.
That's awesome. Well, this has been episode 12, ladies and gentlemen, of the Little Big Cast. Thank you again for joining us. Major shout outs to our new Twitter followers. We just passed 100 on the Twitters.
Yep.
And we just want to say thanks for joining us. We hope you're listening. We hope you're enjoying what you're hearing. And tweet back at us. Earlier yesterday, I put out a message asking for responses. We didn't hear back from anyone, and that is cool because this is a conversational podcast, and you're welcome to participate or not participate.
Right.
But we would
You have a
love,
choice.
we would love to hear from you. We would love to be able to talk about what you want us to talk about.
Like the chat room.
Like having babies, making babies.
Yay.
Just remember the stork.
Ask
comes
your mom
in,
and dad.
Ask your parents,
I
gamers.
actually told a girl, I kind of ruined her life because I was like 6 and she was like, well, we'll just go to the doctor and tell him we don't want any kids. And I was like, haha,
That's
you
not the
knew.
way
That's
it
not how it works. And then I was never allowed back at their house. So
that will be my daughter.
My little girl say it all the time. They're like, because our little dog, they're like, when do we get her a shot? We're just going to get her a shot so she'll not have babies. I'm like, it's not that easy. Because they thought we'd just give her a shot and be like, no babies for you.
yay. Keep telling me that.
my daughter is very aware of where babies come from.
How old is she again?
Acutely aware.
She's obsessed with babies. Okay, first of all, my kid's obsessed with babies, and she'll ask questions like, she's like, I want to see a new baby. Like, I want to see a brand new baby. Wow. And
Great. Target
so
has a bunch in a box.
it's
We can
like-
buy it for you with a
right?
binky.
So
Let's get her a puppy.
my wife and I, we're like, you know what? Like, she's interested. We're gonna be honest, okay? She has seen babies be born.
Wow.
And so
Power to
when
you.
people
Miracle of
when
life.
cousins, so this is where it gets weird though.
Oh.
When cousins I have a daughter. She's a girl, right?
Right.
That's what daughters are. So she has a lot of
Since
girl
when?
cousins, and if you've never been around kids, they say things like "my pee-pee hurts" or
Right.
my poo-poo
think
hurts
it's
or
funny.
whatever, right? So this is the conversation we're having on an adult podcast right now. My pee-pee hurts. She'll be like, maybe you're having a
Get that
baby.
checked out.
Are you going to scream? These are the things she says.
Wow.
When she sees pregnant people, when she sees people that are actually pregnant, she's like, you're going to have a baby. And they're like, yeah. And she's like, are you going to cry? Are you going to scream? She's like, it hurts. That's the life I live. And this has been episode 12 of the Little Big Cast. Thank you for joining us for the baby birthing conversation. Thank you for joining us for the guacamole game. Do we have a choice? Who's
Not
in charge
yet.
next
I'll
week?
let you know.
Drew.
I'll let you know.
You
thought it
pick
was your choice.
guacamole. I'd pick after Drew.
I'll let you know.
Dodge that bullet.
Stay tuned, people. If you
You said goodbye, so I rolled it. Goodbye.
Drew does it again, ladies and gentlemen.
Part 2.
You said goodbye, so I started rolling it. I waited.
We're good. We'll let it go.
Well,
Adios, people. Follow us on Twitter since we got to say that. Drew's on the ball. 2 weeks in a
not
row,
use it
baby.
Next time.
Later.
I just did a speaker for you.
I was wondering why you hit the space
All
bar
right.
so dramatically.
Keep it up, Zach. Keep it up for
I
a
was
minute.
like,
We got to record one
exit.
last piece.
Oh my gosh.
We got loud. And the chat room lost it.
Oh my gosh.
Making Babies with Rachel, who participates. It's all the public schools. It's LBK After Dark. Somebody threw in, wait. Daughters are girls? Because he said, I have a daughter. She's a girl.
Who's saying that?
Rev. Yeah, I'm sure we're embarrassed. Let's kick out our intro.
All right.
Good times. We totally derailed. That was awesome. I think we can do that.
You know what?
LBK goes after dark.
Random is the best. I think so too. Random stuff is the best.
So, Zach, just so you know, we record like a 20-second intro right now, and then that will be the end. So stay with us for just a few more moments if you can.
So I didn't mention this on the air, so I'll say it live. I saw that Zach was playing StarCraft because he posted something on the Twitter, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like you too?" Because I was referring to you. but
Yeah, right.
I didn't state that. He was like, "You play too?" And then I start getting like direct messages of like his email and how to add him. And
You don't play.
I was like,
Zach,
no,
she doesn't
I don't.
play.
I can't do it. I can't.
She doesn't play.
On today's show, Rachel, what?
Talks about making babies.
Explains 2 people are required to make a child.
She gets down to the
Unless you're
nitty gritty.
asexual.
Rev, I was going to show you my mic.
Rachel explains the
wanna see
birds
my
and the
mic?
bees. Drew,
Kind
I don't
of.
know where you're at. Zach, throw down.
Drew, what are you
Real
doing?
quick, give me camera 3, Zach.
Drew, what are you doing?
I got a lot of trophies.
Makes the wife mad.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. It's got to be the.
Gets cursed by
Yeah.
the peach.
Yeah.
Drew gets caught.
Gets caught playing at 3 a.m.
Late
man.
at night.
3 a.m. There you are, Rev. So check it out. This is the.
And Jeff talks about the heavy petting.
AGR 2100. What I love about it is it's USB on the back and XLR. So I podcasted with
He's honest
this
with his daughter.
With the USB, and now I brought it into work here with the XLR, and I'm really loving
Talk
it.
about
And it
StarCraft
wasn't too bad. $50
Drew gets caught at 3 a.m. with his
with this guacamole on. I don't know what he wants to say.
guac on his hands.
Yeah. Drew gets caught at 3 a.m. with it. Yeah, it's true. It was this morning. I was like, honey, I'm just gonna throw it up again and play a little bit because I got to beat this guy. And she was like, if you do, I'll burn it down. and then she laughed and she's like, no, I'll take a flaming bag of poop over to Jeff and Rachel's house for getting you involved in this. You are not a young man anymore. I was like, I can do it. She's like, no, you'll be complaining. It wasn't a shouting match. It was really funny.
And Jeff, what am I doing?
We never fight.
What am I doing?
StarCraft, Battlefield.
And Jeff's kid. We use our kid. Well, I'll use my kid.
Yeah.
Honest with Olive.
And Jeff's kid makes adults uncomfortable.
But you're gonna stay through the whole thing to get to that part. It's LBK After Dark, episode 12.
All right, ready?
Rolling there, still rolling upstairs. Hit it.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the official PlayStation podcast of the KT Data Network. We are the LittleBigKast, and this is episode 12. On today's show, Rachel explains the birds and the bees.
Kind of.
Takes 2, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Drew gets caught at 3 a.m. with guac on his hands.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
And Jeff's kid makes adults uncomfortable. All this and more on the 12th episode of the LittleBigKast. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to LittleBigKast After Dark.
Solid. All right, you can take down that stream.
Now I get to be nervous about a job interview.
And we're gonna take this home. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us in the chat room. We'll have this released early tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeppers.
Yepers.
Yep, diddly do.
Yep, diddly do.
Zach, you can stop the record and stop the stream, and just leave the machine on.